It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Venus.
Dr. Starline has been traveling the multiverse, experiencing death after death after death after death, each ending in a marketable plushie in the real world. But what happens to the original Starline being whisked across the multiverse? Well, after his final embrace with death, Starline finds himself in a dark room, only to have the spotlight shine upon him. Welcome to Scheming with the Starlines, patent pending, with your host, Dr. Starline. This is a talk show where Dr. Starline reviews the villainous schemes that he was forced to bear witness to, be a part of, or is simply aware of in general. 4 questions will be asked per scheme, with 3 schemes overall being discussed, equaling out to 12 questions total. The first question will ask what Starline's overall thoughts on the scheme were, the second will be how he would improve it if he were head honcho, and the third will be a specialty question that could be anything regarding the scheme. And the fourth will see Dr. Starline give the scheme a number of stars out of a total of possible 5, with the tagline, "I give it X stars, all in a line." Where is this being broadcast from? Does this room have air conditioning? Is Dave the intern behind the camera being paid? Don't worry about it, let's get asking. Our first question is in regards to the Little Planet incident from the past of the universe you primarily came from. What did you make of the Doctor's idea of simply chaining a planet to Earth so he could colonize it? And what do you think the Doctor used the time stones to their full potential?
Credit where it's due, the chaining of Little Planet was peak Eggman. It's wonderfully efficient, but also grandiose in design. Top marks there. Unfortunately, whether or not he was able to handle the time stones is hard to pin down. What with all that timey-wimey, bibbly-bobbly stuff, I don't believe he ever had one. And that whole bad ending thing, I don't know if that's canon, so I don't know if that counts. Again, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Mm-hmm. What would you have done differently than the Doctor to secure a victory? If you had the power to control time with the time stones, what would you have done with them if you were still alive and kicking now?
Truth be told, the Doctor did an excellent job with the Little Planet campaign. It largely came down to Sonic being, him.
Sonic.
Although I believe his personal contraptions could have been a little more offensively designed, but that's my 2 cents. As for obtaining the time stone, once you have one, well, the world's your oyster, isn't it? Just go back to where you started and go in a different direction while retaining the original stone. Or go back to before any of it began and ensure your victory from the very start.
How many stars would you give the scheme, and do you have any closing thoughts?
I give it 4 stars, all in a line. Better luck next time.
Our next questions take us out of Starline's prime dimension and to the neighboring dimension of the Blue Bomber. In regards to the plot of Mega Man and Base, where Dr. Wily sends Base to regain control of his castle that had been usurped by King, a robot master that Wily had direct control of the entire time, what did you make of this entire charade? Did his scheme even make sense to you? What would you have done differently than Wily in this situation?
It is never wise to put someone in command and think that you still have control. I kind of learned that the hard way. But no, the entire debacle was ill-advised, ill-performed, and frankly, just nonsense.
If you had to compare Doctors Eggman and Wily in terms of competence, how would you rate them? They've had their fair share of shining moments and blunders, but this was quite a confusing low for Wily.
Everyone has their hits and misses. I would say they're fairly comparable. They both have a drive to experiment in ways that the mundane can't even conceive of. I find Wily's UFO a little pedestrian. He could stand to have a little more glitz and glamour to him. But it also allows him a little more focus, and that's where Eggman sometimes lacks.
Oh, you actually admit Eggman is lacking, huh?
Oh, he's a beautiful man, but every diamond has its flaws.
Oh. What about yourself?
I'm so radiant you can't even see the flaws now, can you?
All right. How many stars would you give the scheme, and do you have any closing thoughts?
I give it 1 star That's not even a line. That's a point on a graph.
And our third and final set of questions take us back to the Prime Universe, detailing the scheme of Black Doom, who planned to annihilate all life on Earth using the Chaos Emeralds, potentially manipulating Shadow to achieve his ends, depending on which set of events you follow. What did you think of Black Doom's deadly and cruel plot for planet subjugation?
Excellently executed, especially given the very narrow window of opportunity he had. He had to establish the cultivation of his herald and then wait 50 years for it to bear any fruit. But then, out of nowhere, no warning, no grand declaration, just simple portal and invasion attacking, heads of state invading large populated areas, immediately going for the Chaos Emeralds. Excellent. I think the timing of things could have been a little better here and there. Perhaps ensure Shadow is on a tight leash from the very beginning. But again, he was working under very tight constraints, so there's very little room for critique here.
Not that you have a league of hive mind-driven alien slaves lying around, but if you were somehow in Black Doom's position, how would you have undertaken an alien invasion?
To be perfectly honest, this is exactly how I would have done it.
Beautiful. The series of events that surround that incident are quite messy, with many possibilities. How many of these timelines did you end up in, if any? If you did get involved via isekai shenanigans, it must have been quite the experience keeping track of all that, especially when it came to Shadow's constantly fluctuating morality.
It's not hard to keep up with it when they all end the same way.
And for our final question, as before, give us your star rating and any closing thoughts you have regarding this plot.
I give it 5 stars, all in a line. And excellent little food for thought there with the whole hive mind under one's control. Yes.
Oh no.
Everyone already fears the Tails Lord, and there are certainly plenty of plushies out there now, aren't there?
All right, get back into the portal. Back into the portal with you. We're done here.
Not just yet. We must first thank Venus for sponsoring this wonderful BumbleKast Mini. If you want one of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll be back, I'm sure, for another BumbleKast.
Get out of here. That's enough of you.
Fine. I'll put down the broom, you brute, you cad.